Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome to episode 65 of Talk4, the quickfire podcast where we ask four great questions to unique and interesting people. Behind the mic today for the third time is your host, Louis Skupien. That's me, and our very special guest for today, Gianpaolo Ienna, who's going to be answering our questions today. Gianpaolo, please say hi to these fine people listening, introduce yourself, and just give us a quick rundown of who you are and what you do before I shoot some questions.
Hi, Louis. It's a pleasure to meet you, first of all, and thank you for having me in your amazing podcast. I had the chance to see a few of them. I'm really interested, and that's the reason why I accepted your invitation. Thank you one more time.
Fantastic.
I am Gianpaolo Ienna. I come from Italy. More specifically, I come from Palermo, a little town down in the south of Sicily. I've been in the States, in New York City, since 2009. I moved at a young age of 20 years old after being DJing. I was in music business for probably 15 years. Quite a ride. I was in the hospitality business when I first moved in 2009. In 2014, I got my real estate license, and then since then, I've been riding my wave off to what it's going on basically today. Today, I take care of residential and commercial luxury real estate in New York State, in the Hamptons, Los Angeles, and Miami, with Douglas Selman, which is probably the most prestigious real estate firm in the US.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's clear from everything that I've seen on you and looking at the website and all the things you're doing, you've been a busy man and a very successful one too. And from what I've seen as well, one thing we have in common is you're a big fan of tennis as well. And so tell me about that. How did you get into tennis? And quite cool because I've been playing tennis since 4 years old, and I actually had a guy called Marcus Willis on the podcast today too, who played Federer on centre court Wimbledon a few years ago as well. So it's a cool world and a small world. So how did you get into tennis?
Young age, I wasn't really into soccer, like just for the reason because in Italy everyone assumed that soccer and everything, but I was a little bit different. I have always had that kind of ego inside of me as a kid. It doesn't exist anymore, thankfully. But I always loved the sports that are one against one. Tennis was probably the easiest one to access for me through the friends that I had when I was at a very young age. So I started playing tennis, I think, at 6 years old until when I was 15 or 17, which is 2 years before my DJ and music career started taking off. And also when I left school, about 17 years old. I had an amazing ride. Me and my brother used to get dropped off to do training from 2 o'clock until like 4 or 5 o'clock, because then we started playing professionally.
Right.
And then after that, we were just hanging out at the tennis club all the way to dinner time, having dinner with all our friends, and then our parents used to come back and pick us up and bring us back home. I'm still in love with the sport. Once again, it's one of my probably the only favorite sports that I ever played. I don't follow like I should, just because of work.
Sure.
I do a lot of things. I do real estate. As of now, as 2023, I do real estate. I co-own a construction company with my business partner. And I also co-own a Web3 agency with another guy at your age. We build websites and smart contracts for people or for personal individuals or corporations that want to build their NFT project implemented within their website and then sell the project, which is the NFTs, to their clients in order for them to create communities and stuff like that to be more connected with the ownership.
Brilliant stuff. And yeah, it's interesting how it works, because I've always found that actually tennis players who especially the people, not just like the club players, but the people who kind of play professionally and stuff, they've always kind of made good business people too, and good entrepreneurs, because like the lessons you learn from tennis and the sort of the style around it of professionalism and accepting losses, and also how good it feels to get victory, and also the preparation, planning, and all these things, it really builds like a strong skill set for like entrepreneurship. So I'm just interested. It's not one of the questions I had planned actually, but I do want to ask you just quickly then. So have you found like some of the stuff that you learned during tennis and your training and that whole experience being a tennis player, do you feel like that's actually credited somewhat to the successes you've had in the business world too?
100%. I would say that the good things that singular games and sports bring to the future of these individuals are the fact that you have a coach. The coach somehow, when you grow up, it becomes mm, your mentor.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't have to be the same coach that you have in tennis and business, but during the times of my growth in the US, I would say mostly, I found different individuals that played the role to be my mentors. And in my subconscious, I think that that's the same thing that I used to have when I was playing tennis. I had a coach that was telling me exactly how to be at home, what to do, what to eat, and the things, a lot of things, obviously all related to the being well of the individual,
Mm.
plus being a good person,
Yeah.
and never care if you were losing or winning, because at the end of the day, it was just the ride
The process.
to success.
Mm.
The good things that happened to me is that I always had this entrepreneurial mastership inside my heart and my brain, that I was mostly good about separating my brain and my heart,
Mm.
because, you know, as we say in the big leagues, there is no emotions.
Mm.
Um, we as tennis players or golf players or Formula One drivers, we had that kind of thing that we need someone that we look out for, and getting advices for them, and they work for us as we work for them in the
Yeah.
same way. We're asking them for advices, and the fact that they also giving it to us, it makes them feel good.
Yeah.
I do the same thing for many people that want to get into real estate. I give them a lot of advices, but it makes me feel really good inside, because I know that there is someone that is in need of me, for me, and I'm doing what I would have done with anyone else, just giving advices, because that makes us feel great.
Absolutely. So true. And it's like in tennis, especially to the high levels, there's so much teamwork involved. Like you said, with coaches and stuff. Obviously, the better you are as a player, you have different aspects of that. Like you have the physical trainer, the tennis coach, the hitter, the psychologist, and all these different things. And you have to be a really good team player to do that. And it's the same in the business world. You can't do these things solo. I mean, we all look very similar. You know, got two eyes, we've got a nose, we've got a mouth, and all these things. But actually, we're all very made up differently. Like we all have a talent. We all have these certain aspects that we are particularly good at, and the areas that we are not so proficient in, and we can work on that. But we can also learn how to delegate those jobs and those things to a team to help create like this perfect package in a way, and fill those holes. But yeah, you're mentioning about the real estate then. So for my first question, then tell me about the backstory of that then. So how did you get into luxury real estate? And I heard, kind of looking at the website and stuff, that you're actually a waiter before, if that's correct. And please tell us how you obviously went from that to what you do now, which is obviously very different.
So when I moved to the States, back in 2009, I had one problem: my language barrier and my immigration status.
Mm-hmm.
When you move to the States as an immigrant from anywhere else in the world, but specifically from Italy, everyone, as soon as you mention Italy, all over around the world, they think about food. Forget about fashion and all that kind of stuff, right?
Very true.
But they think about food.
Mm.
So for me, as I moved to the States, the first thing that I was suggested to do in order to survive, because once again, I moved to the States with $200.
Wow, it's a big
The only
commitment.
the only thing that I had to survive, it was finding a job in a restaurant. That was the easiest thing to do. Even though I didn't speak the language very well, I spoke English, but it was completely broken. I spoke maybe 1% of what I do now.
Okay.
Because I came from, I was in Egypt for 2 years in music while I was DJing. So I used to speak Russian and Arabic very fluent, but they speak very, very little English. So when I moved here, it was like a big language barrier.
Sure.
I moved here in 2009. I started working in restaurants as a dishwasher, not as a waiter.
Sure.
Dishwasher. So, and then I made my way up to, I became a runner. I was a busboy. Then I became a runner. I became a server, then a floor manager, a host, to all the way up to general managers. And then I became a VIP host, was taking celebrities left or right in restaurants for compensations, for commissions. That VIP service thing about taking celebrities to restaurants or to the clubs or set up their dinner home with the private chefs and do that kind of stuff, it gave me the opportunity to build my own Rolodex.
Yeah.
As a kid, I hated real estate because my family has been in real estate since the 50s in Italy, divided by Rome, Milan, and Sicily, Palermo. I hated it. I didn't want to pursue being an architect just like my father. So I had the opportunity to do it, but mentally, school, it wasn't for me. Fortunately for the US, after I built all that kind of Rolodex, I was like, okay, but now I have all these contacts, right? All these celebrities and kind of people, good and bad, whatever they are. How do I start making real money now? Talking to people left and right, it was like real estate. Real estate, there is no stopping. As much as you want to work, you're going to make money. But obviously, it's not as easy as he seems to say. But I never had 1 minute to think about, oh, let's think about it and let's do it. No, I just went and do it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, my family being in real estate, it was very easy for me to get into the real estate scene. I just had to unlock that side of myself that I didn't know about being a salesman.
Right.
Which it became very natural and very easy for me, because at the end of the day, I'm not changing my attitude when I am with clients or with my friends or with my family. The same way I'm talking to you right now, I am with the rest of the people that I know.
Yes.
Whether they're clients or family or whatever it is, friends. So it was very easy for me to get into the job. Obviously, it was very difficult succeeding, meaning being able to support yourself just by doing these things that you actually love. So I failed about 3 times, because the first thing that I had to do was, okay, so now I do hospitality during the day. Real estate during the day, hospitality evenings, late nighttime DJing. So I was like, okay, the DJ thing brought me a lot of context to meet people in the restaurant. The restaurant is bringing me people with money, good for them to buy real estate. I was like, okay, so now I'm doing a lot of things. I'm not ready. I'm too young. What is the one thing that I fully accomplished that I'm super happy with, that I can actually take it out of this list and focus on these 2 other things? I was like, DJing. Why? Because I wasn't back in a relationship for 6 years. I wanted to get things serious. Bought a house and got engaged and all that kind of beautiful things. And I was like, okay, now I want to become a dad. So I was like, I don't want to be a dad and a DJ, So I decided, after, a long conversation between me and myself, to let go of music. And just focus on keep building my Rolodex by meeting more important people and more rich people, because that was my goal. I mean, I came to the States to make money. I didn't come here just to survive. I could have just stayed in Italy. So I decided to let go music, focus on the hospitality part in order to meet people and bring them to my office. That was the first time that I was like, okay, now I'm going to meet people in restaurants and clubs. I'm going to take them and bring them to my office. It worked very well, but not as much as I needed to let go the hospitality business and just focus in real estate. I tried by let go the restaurants and clubs promoting to just focus on real estate. I did it 3 times. I completely failed. I used all my money. So I had to go back into part-time real estate, part-time hospitality. I did it 3 times to the point that in 2018, that was my the last time that I put my foot in a restaurant and be like, okay, tonight I'm working here. I stopped working in restaurants because I made a really big sale for starting into the luxury kind of stuff. That gave me the opportunity to have this money on the side as a backup, but still pushing through for real estate. And that was my breakthrough. That luxury real estate. Obviously, yes. If you ask me, did you ever rent an apartment for $700, $800 a month? Yes, I did it. It's part of my past, but I haven't forgotten, because sometimes when I have people asking me what should I do in order to become a luxury real estate, this and that, I'm like, it's gonna work just if you start thinking about how do I rent my first apartment, no matter how much it is, instead of thinking how much I rent my first apartment worth $60,000 a month, or how am I going to sell my first apartment for $10 million? Doesn't happen that easy, but little by little, over the course of the years, you teach yourself of how to be beneficial to your clients and not beneficial to yourself.
Absolutely.
And this is the best thing that I can do. I do not work with people that I don't know. I only work with my friends and friends of friends. And this is the way I wanted to keep it, because it helps me a lot. Because first of all, I love helping people, and helping my friends or my friends of friends is the things that makes me happy the most.
Oh, that's lovely. And yeah, I mean, that's the true like entrepreneurial story, kind of coming from small things, small beginnings, and then taking it to this level and just building up slowly. But I like the way you had this kind of like a bit like a funnel in a way, isn't it? With the sort of the networking side of it, with the hospitality stuff, which then you could take to the real estate stuff, and that's actually really very smart. It's kind of a bit like having almost like a podcast in a way, where you have this networking thing and you meet people and stuff, and then you're in the room with them, and then you can take them to other aspects as well and get the most out of it. So it's really interesting what you did there. And so looking at the website as well, you've got the real estate stuff happening. You also have you've also created a media agency then for small businesses. So what led you to start that as well? And what is the mission objective for that business then?
So back in 2019, during pandemic, 2019, 2020, I was that time in LA. And I had an idea, because the agency, the Web3 agency, was originally a social media agency. And I was helping a lot of friends that I met during my hospitality career. And now they're some of my best friends that owns restaurants, clubs, whatever, dentist or VIP host services, or promoting agencies, luxury cars. Anyways, I was like, you know what? I have all these friends. Their social media presence, quote unquote, sucks. I know a lot of people in the social media world. How about I do something like that with someone I know and I love? So I decided to open. I met this amazing guy, Eli. a little bit before pandemic, and he was helping me with some websites and some social media posts for me. And I was like, hey, Eli, I know he's very passionate about what he does.
Mm.
And I was like, hey, Eli, what do you think about, I put my contacts on, you put your expertise. We open an agency and we do social media management for all these guys. He loved the idea. We had about 15 to 18 accounts at some point at the same times. Everything was doing great. The only problem that I had was sometimes the clients wanted to tell us how to conduct our business. But at the end of the day, you're telling me to help you doing social media. Just let me do my job. It wasn't that, because at the end of the day, you still had to listen to their thoughts and their comments about what we were doing, even though we were progressing. We were gaining followers for them, getting likes and posting amazing reels and photographers, videographers. It was a lot. During pandemic, this thing of NFT comes out, and I am on with my best friend D-Rock that works for Gary V.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was part of this Zoom call with him where Gary was talking about NFTs, CryptoPunks, and the Web3 things. It was like very confusing. Anyway, we had I think a couple of hours with other people in this Zoom call. Late at night, it was in the evening, it went through all night. And while we were talking, me and David, after the call ended on Zoom, we started kind of scratching our head to figure out how to open a MetaMask wallet. I don't know if you're familiar with the...
Yeah, I did that too. It's a mind screw.
We literally had no idea what we were doing. We were opening a wallet in the internet that hold these NFTs worth $30,000-$40,000 each. And we were like, oh my God, what is going on? So nothing. We got into that thing. Now we're really deep into that Web3 all craziness.
Yeah.
I had an idea where people started asking me, hey, Giampaolo, but do you know people that I was starting to connect people in the Web3 world, left and right. And I was like, okay, I'm getting a lot of complaints from the social media agency. So I said, Eli, listen, how about, do you know people that can build websites? I mean, obviously we were building websites for them, but do you know people from NYU, New York University, that can build smart contracts, and we help them launch their own NFT project? They say, yeah, of course I can do that. He made a few phone calls, he found the people. I was like, Eli, from now on, this is what we are. We just do Web3, meaning we create their website, we do the smart contract behind it, and we help them launch their own NFT project, either for individuals, then with the corporations. We started to do that. The company is called FU Media, has been open since 2019. I'm sure the name that you have in your head, yes, that's what it means.
Yes, that is exactly what I have in my head.
But it was super fun. Everybody loved it. And we have amazing clients that keep repeating them. Like every year they ask us to change stuff and update things. We love it. It's been quite a ride. We have a staff of 7 people.
Wow.
Between developers, photographers, 3D guys. One of the kids that we have that works for NASA, super smart. Yeah, but it's been amazing. It was a good thing to do because as I am really deep into the Web3 world, the fact that I own a company that helps also people in Web3 launch their own NFT, it's very easy for me to help my friends in a way, you know?
Absolutely. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fantastic. And I mean, it's clear to me, obviously you've got such an entrepreneurial drive to you, like you're doing all these things, and obviously you saw the NFT stuff happening and you jumped straight onto that. And You've done so well. It's really really great to see. True pleasure. And so third question then, actually kind of about this as well. So I mean, I've found that people who have like that natural sort of entrepreneurial drive, they have like these little things that they pick up along the way through their experiences that they find help them like the most in some sort of way or the other. So as a true born entrepreneur yourself, I wanted to ask you for a little bit of advice on what you have for this then. So, as an entrepreneur, do you have any special, unique tips and tricks that you use to boost sales, productivity, or just yourself in general? That could be routines, or it could be habit based, or a special trick that you found that works for you, or anything you've picked up along the journey.
I would say, to be quite honest, I don't consider myself 100% who I wanted to be. So I'm not 100% a true entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I'm still learning, and every entrepreneur all over around the world still learns on a daily basis from our own clients. There is no special trick of how to conduct an entrepreneurial life. What works for me might not work for this other entrepreneur. It might not work for you. All I have been relying on from the moment that I decided to go solo and not having a Friday paycheck is a lot of people and a lot of friends, people that I really respect, including all the mentors that I've had in my life. I mean, saying, Giampaolo, you're such a good person. You should learn how to say no. You should learn how to say no. But it's something that I learned into my hospitality career, that no for me was never an answer. From the very little things that I could do for people up until the craziest request that I ever had, either in hospitality, either in music, either in real estate. I never learned how to say no. The reason why I was able to become who I am today, it's for the sole reason that I have never changed the way I talk to people. I was never able to lie to a friend or to a person unless it was a lie that was supposed to be told for a good reason, for a good beneficial reason. But for what it concerns me, I have never changed the way that I talk to people. Like again, I'm gonna say it the same way you see me right now, the same way I talk to my best friend David, the same way I talk to my mentor Ethan, the same way I talk to my brother Andrea, the same way I talk to my father, my mother, and all my friends, and also my clients. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, they're friends, but they're also my clients. I have never changed the way I talk to them, and I think that the reason why they picked me as a best friends or as a friend or whatever, it's because there is no Giampaolo business mode or Giampaolo friend mode. There is just Giampaolo, and that's it. This is the way I am. And good for me that people love to be treated still as friends, no matter the circumstances, when they are about to purchase a multi-million-dollar apartment or rent a $5,000 apartment a month. Has been an amazing thing to discover the fact that people just want to be treated normally and not with this extra touch that people say they have to be treated because they are about to purchase a $10 million apartment. I could care less. My goal was always to make sure that they're happy living the place where they're actually living, or purchasing the apartment or the townhouse or whatever they're buying, and they were happy with it. My favorite thing to do, and I'm still getting it as of today, I have clients that I sold apartments or rented apartments back, I don't know, almost 10 years ago. And they still text me on a regular basis, maybe every 2, 3, 4, 6 months. I said, Gianpaolo, I'm very honored to have had the chance to meet you, and you were our broker, and we're still thankful for you to find us these amazing apartments that we love, and all our friends ask us who helped us, and referrals from people that I maybe don't see anymore like I used to see them like 10 years ago. But the most amazing things is that people just don't forget the things that you do for them. And I think that this is the thing that I keep saying. I can't say no to people. I don't know how to say no. And many of my friends tell me that I should learn how to say no, but it's something that I'm honestly incapable doing. And I try my best. I read at least I read a chapter of a book every night before going to sleep. All entrepreneurial books and whatever. But when we get to the section about how to say no, the Essentialism book by Greg McGregor, then there is another one called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah, I've got that. It's on my
Another
bookshelf.
amazing book. Or Never Eat Alone. When we get to the point of learn how to say no to things, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to read you, but I'm not going to focus too much on it because it's not working for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes these amazing books, they're amazing all over, but then they have little things that just don't work for you. And I tried in my past to say no to some people.
Yeah.
I just don't like to see their face because they are not used to Gianpaolo saying no to them. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
I hate seeing faces of people when I say no, because Gianpaolo has been recognized by everyone around him to the person that it doesn't matter what time it is, and it doesn't matter how much money they have or I have, he's never gonna say no.
Yeah, that's such good advice. I love that.
It's not
That's
a
brilliant.
trick.
So good,
I don't
man.
think it's a trick.
No, it's definitely not. And actually, something that my dad taught me as well from tennis. I love how there's so many really relevant things that come out of tennis that end up in the business world somehow. And one of those things that he taught me was this kind of expression, this term called like cherry picking. It's like you go to the bush and you pick these little certain things which are good. So for example, if you're reading the book or you're looking at a player or something, you don't have to copy the whole thing. You don't have to take things from the whole player. You could just pick one thing like the serve or like a specific shot, something they do really well, and then you could just take that bit of advice or that part of the book or something and think, yeah, that's perfect, I'm going to take that. The rest of it, yeah, I'm going to learn what they're saying here, but I might not necessarily take it too deep to heart. And the other thing as well, really brushing up mum and dad here, but they it's funny how it works, but they had an art gallery in London many years ago, and one of their clients, he obviously was a client. He bought loads of stuff from them, but they gave him such like a great experience and built such a nice kind of relationship outside of just the business stuff too, that actually to this day, probably I don't know what it is, at least like 23, 4, 5 years on or something, they're still best friends. And this person actually supported me for my tennis career with like some funding and stuff too. So it's funny how these things come around as well. Like the kindness, it comes back to you as well. And it creates these bonds and these relationships. And more often than not, someone's going to buy from you if you also have like a good relationship, because it's like friends want to help people out as well, especially when you give nice stuff to them, like being authentic to them and just being like a really great version of yourself and not trying to put anything on for a sale. Like you said, like people can smell that. You can tell when someone's, hang on a minute, they've caught whiff of, or they've caught wind of something, like I'm trying to sell them this and they know it, so I'm going to try and put the extra in me. Don't do that. It's so true. Just be the best version of you that you can be, and the same person as always, and people will trust that and respect that, and then they'll come back to you. I mean, it is all in authenticity, isn't it?
100%. I believe that the reason why, first of all, real estate, it's a very challenging and difficult world.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do, like any other business, is just be a good real estate or businessman for anyone that you know. It doesn't matter if they're your friends or not. I decided to work with my friends because my goal, one of my goals, is to be around happy friends.
Yeah.
And there is no better feeling knowing that the people that you hang out with, or maybe that you see them once a month or once a year, they live happily with their wives, with their girlfriend, or alone in a place that you help them find.
Mm.
It's a feeling that if you're not in real estate, I can't tell you how much I care about that whole thing. Because I know anywhere we are in the city, hey, Louis, make sure that when you get home, you text me.
Mm.
I know wherever we are in the city, that Louis will have to text me about in 15, 20 minutes. David is going to take him 20 minutes to get home. So I get home, and then he's like, he just got home. Sometimes I don't know who, some of them is drink too much or whatever, so I try to call. But it helps you so much discovering your friends, helping them with something that it means so much for them, for their health and for their happiness. Like home is supposed to be something that is very private.
Yeah.
And having one of your friends that know you so well, helping you find a place that fits you, there is no better person than one of your good friends that knows you to find a place for you.
So true.
I don't know how, and I'm a salesman. I don't quietly think I'm a salesman because I'm selling to a friend of mine. I'm not using him. I'm just helping him.
Yeah.
And by the way, just to give you a quick example, Luis, there is friends and friends. Some friends they can afford to buy a building today. I have other friends that I met many years ago that unfortunately are not lucky or fortunate as the other people.
Mm.
But sometimes I get these phone calls once every few months. Hey, Gianpaolo, I'm in trouble. I need to find a place, but I don't have money to pay a broker fee, whatever. Don't worry about it.
Mm.
I help them in so many ways that at the end of the day, I'm good. Like I don't need people's support in order. Like I just want them to be safe.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I care the most.
That's brilliant. It's such an important value. It's just like that. I know you said you know D-Rock, and Gary V hits on that so much. It's like empathy and stuff, and just that whole being kind and just having that heart and stuff for people and just helping out one way or the other. The whole butterfly effect thing, it comes back to you. It really does. Like one way or the other, you might not know how it comes back to you. Sometimes you might not know when it's going to be. It might be really far into the future, but doing good things just comes back to you. I mean, another small example for me is like I started this business and I'd started selling these things on eBay, and then I kind of got off eBay, started my own brand, and started on social media like Instagram and stuff. And the first person who bought one of these things from me through Instagram, I wrote him like a handwritten note with the thing as well, just thanking him, saying like, you're the first person to buy one of these. Just want to say a huge thank you to you and all this, and signed by Louis. And I think 2.5 years later, that person is still like an ambassador for this company. He shares everything. He buys all the time, and he's like the nicest person. We have a great personal friendship too, and we're always catching up. It, like you said, it goes a million miles. Just even just doing a small thing, it really does. But yeah, just thinking about it. So I spoke about unique selling points and stuff, but just listening to you, your real unique selling point has got to be that perfecto Italiano accent you've got there. I mean, who can say no to that in sales? Like you're trying to sell a piece of real estate, you just got to just say, yeah, man, right, buy my stuff, and they're just like, yep, okay, fine, yes, I'm sold.
Louis, I wish it was that easy. I don't use my accent. I don't use the place where I come from as an excuse. I think that I don't use any of that. The only thing that I really care is about not being afraid of being misunderstood.
Powerful.
I don't. I'm really not. If you don't understand the way I conduct my business or the way I act in front of people and whatever, the only thing that I want to say out to the world is just there is a lot of sometimes I get misunderstood because people say I don't understand the reason why you're being too nice to me, and that's hard to uh, to uh, to understand because in today's world it's full of a lot of people that have hate, and the only thing that they expect is hate back, and people that are trying to compete between themselves, and then Louis or Giampaolo shows up and they trying to help you, not expecting anything back.
So
And
true.
people are like, no, you must hide something. You must hide something. No, why you're being no, I don't want to have anything to do with you.
Yes.
And sometimes I try to say, hey, like maybe you have been fortunate enough to meet this person today, or you have unfortunately you haven't had the opportunity to meet this person yet. And guess what? Today is your first day. Everyone expects this bad things always to happen to them. And maybe one day they meet someone and they're like, you know what? You don't have money to pay for broker fee. Don't worry about it. I know I can understand the way you feel right now that you cannot pay broker fee. But guess what? In a week or so, this person is going to be homeless.
So true. So true. My God.
You understand? So why wouldn't you help that person? It's not about the money that we should do things. We should just be good people. The end.
Yeah.
I know some people need money to survive or whatever, but sometimes doing the right thing is always the right thing
Oh
because you'll
God,
come
yeah.
back. You'll come back.
Absolutely. I mean, we have been so stereotyped to, especially people like my age. It's awful. Like literally, you can say one nice thing to people or something, and they instantly think the worst. I mean, I'll give you a quick example. It was a while ago, but I don't remember exactly the wording of what I said, but I know what I would say. So I'll give you the example. Like a few old friends who I hadn't heard from in a while, reached out to all of them, and I actually wrote them all like a personal message, something really nice. So I said something like, hey there, just checking up on how you're doing. Just wanted to say I think you're amazing. I love everything you've done. I appreciate you for everything that you've said to me and all the support in the past and all this kind of stuff. You know what they said back to me? One of them actually came back and said, "Are you okay?" Question mark. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. What's wrong?" They were like, "Are you drunk or have you been doing drugs?" I was like, "No." And they said, "Are you suicidal?" I was like, "No, I just wanted to send a nice message." And then the other person was like, "What's happened? Has something gone wrong or whatever? Or, what do you need?" And I was like, nothing. I just wanted to send a nice message. But it's so true. People are just, I don't know. It's like the world's kind of just gone in this direction where people just assume the worst straight away. And it's almost like doing something nice for someone, like literally with wanting nothing back. I want nothing back from this. I just want to spread a bit of something good and just make someone's day a bit better. It's just so abnormal. People can't actually help but be suspicious from it, can they?
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I
what do you
wish.
want?
I wish I knew I was thinking the same way I'm thinking right now when I was your age.
Mm, yeah.
Um, my life would have been different by now, for sure. Um, I would have had probably more people around me, but I'm happy with the people that I have now because I
Sure.
know that they have been filtered and filtered and filtered. Once you get into my circle of friends, you're literally protected in any kind of ways.
Yeah.
I pick and choose like the people that I'm really going to spend even 15 minutes on a podcast. or 30 minutes, or
Honored.
on it, right? or people that I'm going to spend an hour or two for dinner or for lunch or for just a catch up. And again, when I give advices, I just do it for the well-being of the person in front of me. I don't give advices for my own benefit.
Yeah, that's brilliant stuff. Really empathetic things. Everyone can appreciate that. Everyone needs to take a leaf out of that book. But like we said, you know, it's part of the process. It's part of the journey of life, learning these things and developing and self-improving. But yeah,
think about at the
yeah.
end of the day. Look, I'm sorry to interrupt.
I'll go for it.
At the end of the day, is like whatever you're going to benefit. Let's say $5,000, $10,000, or a beautiful car, or a beautiful laptop, a beautiful watch. At the end of the day, this materialistic thing,
yeah,
you won't be able to take them with you once you're no longer in this planet.
Yeah.
So how about do something for someone that you know that person most likely will show up at your funeral because you have somehow changed their life just a little bit.
But that's it. That's
There's
what
a
lives
little
on.
touch of
Legacy. Yeah. And the memories of the kind of person that you were. That's what people remember. They don't remember the watch or the car or something. They remember the impact that you had, the kind of person you were, and the impressions that you gave them. And that's what sticks around. And that's kind of like people say, how do you live forever? Well, isn't it? You leave, it's what you leave behind.
You leave your legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. 100%.
Great talk. I love it.
Yeah.
So moving on, last question as well then for the people kind of getting into the game and the new people coming up. There's plenty of them. We have a lot of people on this planet now. So fourth question, for someone looking to get into the real estate game, but they're not sure where or how to start or who to listen to, do you have any beginner tips and a little start out plan for them, or like kind of a strategy or something, and also any common mistakes to avoid that you've seen?
Yes, so I get the question asked a lot. The number one thing is most likely they are already working somewhere part-time. I would say that the first thing, I'll give the example of what I did to give the best example, because it worked for me. It might not work for them, but that's the most the most precious advice that I always give to people. And somehow it works. If you're already working and doing something, and it's even though if it's a part-time or full-time, let's say it's part-time, keep the part-time job that helps you paying your bills. When you're done with the part-time job, it does not matter at what time you're doing a 9 to 5 or a 5 till 4 o'clock in the morning, or you're a night guard with the car, whatever it is. During your free time, this is when you start learning about the business. Try to keep your job so you are able to pay your rent or your mortgage or your expenses. And little by little, join a real estate broker that holds your license and ask them to guide you for your real estate career. But tell them that you have a part-time job and you won't leave that until you are 100% capable of paying your own bills, just with the income that you receive from real estate. If I am let's say I'm a waiter in a restaurant, and my job is to be there from 3 o'clock until midnight. Guess what? In the morning, you're going to your real estate office and you're going to grind there. You're not leaving the office. This is what I did. And I was showing 30, 40 apartments a day to people that could afford $1,000 a month, making $300 in the commission for the entire day. It didn't close every day. I was closing once every 3-4 months at the first very few years, till the point that you were starting to close once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month, 4 times a month, things like that. So do not leave your part-time job. And if you do not have a job, and this is like, okay, I'm out of my parents and I need to go find a job that it's easy for you to earn money, even though if you hate that job. Gary says most of the times, don't do what you hate. But I say, okay, I'm gonna make that job that I hate, I'm gonna make myself love it, because that's the only way that I'm gonna survive. But I'm not gonna let myself down and work and do the things that I really want to do, which is real estate. And I'm gonna do that from the moment that I get off of that job that I hate until the maybe 4 hours of sleep that I'm gonna get. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spend my time on YouTube watching videos. I'm gonna spend time with my mentor at the real estate firm. I'm gonna spend time trying to understand how to market myself. Maybe use your part-time job as a source of contacts and building your Rolodex in order for them to take your clients from the restaurant to your real estate office.
Right.
But again, I'll go back to the conversation that we had before. Don't be afraid of being misunderstood.
Right.
So if people tell you, oh, but many times I was running these restaurants left and right, and people were like, but what do you do, Giampaolo? What do you want to do? I said, no, I'm already doing what I love. I'm meeting you, hoping that you one day will call me to find an apartment. Giampaolo, but you spend so much time in a restaurant. How do you have time? Don't worry about it. I have people that can back me up. I know what I'm doing. This is what I close. This is what I do. And hopefully one day we get to meet in my office and we talk. I'll tell you exactly how it's going to work.
Damn
And
right.
then little by little, people started coming to the office. There is many ways that you can start in real estate. Many ways. But the most common thing is just find a job that you feel kind of comfortable doing and you are able to pay your bills. And in the meantime, try to learn real estate. It's going to take you time. It's going to take 2, 3, 4 years by the time that you start living the part-time job and making real estate your full-time job. But just so you know, more than 75% of people that that start doing real estate in New York, they leave before they hit 1 year of doing it because they don't see money. But unfortunately, you gotta grind and
of course.
grind and grind and grind. Sometimes you're so close, but you don't know how close you are. So what I would say is just keep pushing yourself to the point that one day you're gonna realize that the reason why you haven't quit it is the reason why you're alive today.
That's some killer advice right there, Giampaolo. Absolutely brilliant. To round this off then, just kind of on the same subject too. So something you mentioned earlier was that you read a chapter every night before bed. So we're talking about kind of like beginner tips and stuff for real estate. So I'm just wondering, either as an entrepreneur, either or real estate, do you have like a top book or recommendation for a book or something that you thought has kind of really given you a lot of competitive edge stuff in the real estate markets, or just as an entrepreneur in general? Any recommendations there?
So I'll tell you right now, I am currently about to finish reading this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. But that is one. Then I have another book, which is Never Eat Alone. Which is another great book. But so far, the best one of all that I've had I would say this past year, it's the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene.
Okay.
Again, it's the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. It's one of the most amazing books that was ever wrote of all time. I cannot tell you what he talks about because I really want you to get curious and go read a few paragraphs of it online and maybe buy it. I hope you do. Rich Dad Poor Dad, it's another great book, but that'll help you more into the financial kind of side of your life. But the 48 Law Power, it's probably the best that I have ever read.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to be placing my order for that as soon as we're off of here because I want to. I'm curious now. I've got the bug for it, and I like reading too. And I've got a bookshelf that's full of good entrepreneurial books, and that
Me
one's
too.
not on there, so I certainly shall. But Gianpaolo, that has been our 4 questions for today. It's been a great podcast, and before we wrap this up, it is time for what I like to call the shameless plug. So please do feel free to take a minute and promote anything you're working on, your website, the social media, and just anything that you want people to take a look at, and obviously all your amazing projects too. Send us there.
My website is giampaoloienna.com. It's GIAMPAOLOIENNA.com. Just by visiting my website, you will find everything that I do, from real estate to social media to the construction business that I own. All my links are in there: my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok, my LinkedIn. And you can also contact me via Facebook messages on my page. You can from my website. You can definitely find all the links and all the things that you are interested at the moment that are interested in me. That's why I put them on my website. Again, it's about real estate, about the construction business that I co-own, and the Web3 agency, a few media that I co-own with my other partner Eli. I don't want to, because I don't like to kind of promote myself in that kind of stuff. But if you really need any kind of help in the real estate field, or in the constructions, or in the Web3 agency, please feel free to visit my website and just contact me over there. I'll be very glad to help you.
Oh, fantastic. And yeah, I'll have all the links in the description for YouTube, and obviously kind of in the episode details for the audio only listeners right now. But great stuff. Gianpaolo, thank you so much for joining me today for the Talk4 podcast. Honestly, an absolute pleasure having you on, and the accent never gets old, trust me.
Thank you very much, Luis. It was a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for having me in your podcast.
Oh, it's been brilliant. Absolute honor. And thank you guys also for listening. This has been episode 65. The 3 podcast day shift is over, and it has been a really good one for me. I've had a great time. Amazing people, amazing advice. Just thrilled, honestly, buzzing, loving how things are going right now. Fantastic. And yeah, the usual outro. So if you'd like to listen to the past episodes, we've got many amazing people out there. Take a look at the channel, do subscribe, hit the like and everything. And obviously loads more coming in future. So do obviously subscribe and spread some love by leaving a like and a comment. Signing off for now.